Hey there, it's Eris, and I thought I would give you an update on how I'm going with the Tarot Advent project. If you haven't seen my last video, this has been a project that was created by Miss Kelly Bear. I'll put a link to her channel below. And basically, the idea is that you choose a deck that you work with for the Advent, so the 25 days leading up to Christmas Day. You draw 3 cards a day and you do whatever you wish to do with those 3 cards. And then on Christmas Day, you're going to end up with 6 cards. I've been going pretty solid with it. There were a couple of days, I think it was last week, where I had to draw the cards for the previous day, the next day, simply because I'm a teacher and I've been wrapping things up at work, and it's been getting incredibly busy and exhausting and tiring, which makes it quite funny that I decided to start making videos for YouTube right when I'd be probably in one of the busiest, craziest times of year at my job. But things are wrapped up now at work and I'm now on holidays, which is really awesome, which means I'm now ready to make a video updating you on how I'm going with the Tarot Advent. I've been realizing that I don't know how I'm going to do the last few days because I go away on the 23rd, so for the 23rd, the 24th and the 25th. I'm not sure what I'll do. I might just take the whole deck with me and keep going with it. But I can't see myself making any videos about wrapping it up when I'm away. So I'll probably make maybe one more video next week and then that will be it. Because I am going away, I haven't put a Christmas tree up. So this is like one of the only Christmassy things that I'm doing. The other thing is I have a little advent calendar that's tea related. It's by the English Tea Shop. And this is a tea from a couple of days ago. And I'm not actually sure what it is because all it does is it gives the label on the tea bag. So this tea is called Holiday Boost. And I think it's quite fruity. So I'll just have a sip. There may be hibiscus in that. Maybe not. It's definitely on the fruitier side. I might have to wait till it cools down a little bit before I assess. The other thing I've been doing lately that I thought I would share on this video is I've been trying to have like a scent of the day. This is something that I used to do a very long time ago when I was getting into this perfume company, Black Phoenix Alchemy Laboratory. And I've been trying to find my signature scent. I stopped purchasing from this company because the exchange rate started to become a little bit brutal. Obviously, I'm in Australia. And then also the postage became really brutal. So I've been trying to find my signature scent and just using my perfume stash where I can go. But I just really missed BPAL, this company, and decided to order a few things from them a month or two ago. So this, it's called an imp, these little perfume samples. And I got this in a pack with a bunch of other amber scented imps. So it's an amber imp pack. I forget the notes in this one, but I believe it's inspired by, it's the RPG series. It's called Elf. And it's really lovely. It's sweet but delicate. So I'm quite enjoying that one. I love amber themed scents. I also got an earth imp pack and then a couple of other full-size bottles of some things. Anyways, to the tarot. So the way I've been tackling this is I often do a 3-card draw every day anyway, and I've just been doing a 3-card reading, stringing the 3 cards together and getting, I guess, a message of that for the day. And then sometimes I try and create one sentence that sums up the themes of the 3 cards. And the other thing I have been doing is I've occasionally, not every day, but occasionally been pairing it with the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud, and I'm finding that the two decks work pretty well together. I've also edged this deck this month, so if you saw my first video, I'd just gotten this deck secondhand, and I thought edging it would be a really nice way of like putting my stamp on the cards and making them my own. And I think the purple, I just use a chisel tip purple Sharpie on these. It looks really, really nice. And yeah, I'm just loving this deck and the beautiful artwork in it. And I find the purple works really, really well with the colors and the tones in the artwork of the cards as well. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. So I'm finding really weirdly that the three cards have been working together crazy well, because there's a lot of contrasts in this deck. So just as an example, I'll go through like a few days of history of the three cards. Nudity warning, there is a little bit of nudity in these cards. So for example, like these three cards happen to have a lot of pink tones in them, and I found they work together really nicely. Like there's a lot of sweetness in this deck, even though it's gritty, it's also very sweet and nurturing. So I've been finding that really, really lovely. This was a nice little reading. The court cards are such characters, I'm finding, and I love this 7. I love the choice of symbolism in each of the cards. So yeah, I've been really, really enjoying the stories that the cards are creating together. This one was pretty gritty. That was an interesting reading, for sure. And it's kind of strange doing a reading with cards that you know you're not going to pull again until the Advent's over. So yeah, it's been interesting. I drew the tower here that day, and the next day I went to a park gathering and someone had just an RWS deck, and I pulled the tower again in the park. I thought, what is with the tower right now? Come on. Yeah, I'm loving the Tarot of the Crystal World. So I thought we'd do today's reading in this video. And what's kind of weird is working with this diminishing deck, and the guidebook's so small, and it has just like a little one-liner, which works really well for how I've been working with the cards. It's kind of making Riffle Shuffle redundant with the size of the deck now. I guess we're like halfway through, almost halfway through. I've found this a really great way to get to know the deck. I haven't worked with the deck a lot since I got it, and now that I have worked with it a bit more, I'm looking forward to Tarot Advent being over and being able to work with the deck again. I don't do jumpers. Usually I don't do jumpers. Okay. Alrighty. We have the Chariot, the Fool, and the Ten of Wands. Okay, the Chariot here is an interesting one. the blaze of pink smoke coming out of the horse is interesting. I'm noticing there's a lot of pink in this deck, and there's no slowing this guy's roll. They're full steam ahead. I guess what makes this different to usual interpretations or depictions of the Chariot is there's only one steed pulling the chariot. Usually there's the two, the duality, but we do have the stars above, and this kind of cowboy imagery, which I've seen a few times in the deck as well, which kind of fits this idea of the driver of the chariot being this kind of maverick figure who is carving a new path for themselves. There's a kind of wildness to this particular depiction, and I like how the swift movement is really shown, because I find often the traditional depictions of the chariot is quite steady and staid. There doesn't seem to be a lot of movement actually happening. It's interesting how there's a little moon in the sky and it's white. Often there are little moons appearing in the sky, and again we've got this parallel of the same, if it's the moon, if it's the sun, I'm not sure, appearing in the background of the fool here. And interestingly, there's a little tower there that looks similar to the tower. Let me just check actually. Where was the tower? It's interesting that we see a tower kind of symbol happening there. It's not quite the same. It does look like it's smoking, like it's the rubble of an old castle that's now, you know, gone to ruin. But at the same time, we've got all the lovely like foliage and flowers. The dog is dancing. It's almost like a Dionysian or Pan kind of figure, kind of tumbling through the wilderness, just in this crazy kind of way. I just love the expression on the dog's face, and the dog is just living its best life, like so excited. Interestingly, this apple tree, I just love the colors in this depiction as well. It's quite a joyful, kind of crazy depiction of the fool. And then in parallel to the wild energy of these two, we have the slow and steady burdens of the Ten of Wands, which is quite the contrast. So I might turn to the little white book to give us a little bit more on what's going on here. So the Chariot. He won't stop for love nor money. He's in control, crossing unknown lands through force of will. And then the Fool. Here you will start, dance on the road with a lover of freedom. So we have someone who won't stop for love nor money, in control. And then this one is a lover of freedom. So in some ways, the contrast of these two figures can be found in how much clothing they're wearing. This guy's got nothing on at all, and this one's quite prepared for anything. He's got his all-weather gear, I'm sure, whereas this fool doesn't even have these usual bundle, the usual sack. This guy's just hell for leather, kind of at one with nature. Let's have a look at the Ten of Wands. Wands, wands, wands. Ten of Wands. You have carried a lot till now, and your burden cannot yet be put down. Perhaps you have someone who might share your load. So these three cards are really hard to read together. I guess there's a contrast, like a message here for me of, like, when I read this and I'm thinking about myself, I'm thinking about how I've got, I guess, multiple personalities when it comes to being on holidays. On one hand, I really have a big list of things to do and I really want to make my way through them all. And I feel this pressure of really wanting to get into all the things that I can't do when I'm working, and then it being holidays. So I'm suddenly so exhausted that I really don't know how to kind of summon myself to do all of those things. And depending on what kind of state of mind I'm in, sometimes I have the energy and sometimes I don't. So I guess the Fool has that freedom of living in the moment, whereas there's a message here about being overburdened by all of the things that you're saying that you need to do. Like, I'm thinking about all the work that needs to be done in the garden, all the lists I have to make, and the packing I need to do before I go away. Also, my own pressure I put on myself around my art practice and getting lots of art done during the holidays, and just feeling all the things. And then on the other hand, just wanting to relax and kind of do nothing, or just play with the dog, or play a funny little flute and run around naked in the garden. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this is going. But I'll journal it out and I'll figure it out. But if you've got any suggestions, feel free to chuck them in the comments. I'm going to pull on a Proud Fairy to give a bit of an extra boost to what the message of this might be. Honesty. Honesty. Well, we have the direct, steady gaze of this interesting looking fae, whose greens are contrasting quite strongly with the pinks that are happening in these cards. But there is the green hair of the Fool. So maybe there's a message here about being honest with yourself about what your needs and wants and desires actually are. Being able to look yourself in the mirror or look things right in the face in order to deal with them. These two characters are quite inaccessible in terms of relating to them in their gaze, whereas the Fool's kind of coming at me. He's running towards us with his instrument and his dog. And there's a color contrast, correlation here, which is quite interesting. I've been trying to kind of deal with the book a bit too, as I've been playing with the Oracle. So, might have a quick look. Honesty, compassion, tact, self-deceit. Just look at him. Could you doubt for a moment that he sees you just as you are and loves you anyway? Honesty in a reading speaks unsurprisingly of the need for straight dealing and truth in representation. Make sure there's no room for confusion or misunderstanding, no fuzzy edges. On a personal level, honesty reminds us not only to be clear on what we say and do, but also to act and speak with compassion and tact. Honest humility, idealism, clarity, mind are some of the advantages of honesty. Interesting. So it's obviously like a plant spirit. So the honesty and plainness of plants in this sense. I don't know. It's a fun exercise anyway. So yeah, that is my tarot Advent update. I am curious to know if you're doing this project and how you're going with it. If you've got videos and you'd like me to check them out, I'd be happy to do that. Until then, I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye now.